Hello everyone, this is Herman from Filthy Baguette, and today I'm going to showcase you our brand new plugin for Blender, which is Spraycast. Spraycast is a raycast-based decal projector. A lot of words, but I'm going to show you exactly what it does right now. Here we are in a special scene I've made especially for this purpose. I'm going to showcase you what it does. So I got the Spraycast tab right here, and you can see I have several options. I have the asset manager, which got different tabs. I can move from one to another. From graffiti, grunge, details, impact, paint, panel, poster, stickers. Magic is a custom category I've added. You can add any category you want, and inside each category there are decals. These decals are all built-in Spraycast. Spraycast comes with more than 80 built-in decals following the different categories I've talked about. So let's say we want to add a spray, a graffiti on this wall. I'm gonna do a shift and right click on the wall to place the 3D cursor where I want it to, and I'm gonna click on add new Spraycast system. And here we go, very easy. We got immediately a graffiti put into the wall. So the graffiti, as any other object, fit into a category, and every category have different settings. But I'm gonna go into this a bit later. First, let me explain to you how it works. Basically, we got an empty in the shape of a cone, and we got a plane. The way it works is that the empty is going to project a spray onto the surface in front of it, and the plane acts as a lens for the spray to be displayed. So if you move around, you can see the graffiti is disappearing. It might look like a limitation, but honestly, it brings a lot of control into Spraycast. So why does it work like that? Basically, the Spraycast is using a raycast technology, which is a material node. And when you try to put several raycast nodes in front of another in cycles, they won't hit the surface in front of them. They're going to hit each other. And thus, it prevents being able to put several sprays onto the same surface. So that's why we did that. In most cases, the best way to use Spraycast is to free the plane. You can see here there is an option which is called free plane. If I click on it now, the plane is not going to follow the empty, meaning that we have total control over it. And now you can also select the plane separately and just make it way bigger. The closer it is to the surface you want to project your spray onto, the better result you will get. So now that we have our first Spraycast system set up, we can just add as many sprays as we want. So I put this graffiti onto the wall. Let's say I want to add another. I can just remove the selection from the empty, go into any tab I want, any category I want, and add whatever I want. Let's say I want this nice graffiti Boys Who Cry to be added on the wall. I can say add spray, and now we got two empties, each one controlling a spray. Adding several empties into a single system will allow you to have a layer system manager. Now you can see this little box. I got two sprays into this. I can of course rename them. Let's say Boys Do Cry, and it's going to be renamed directly into the same collection. You can hide it in viewport, and you can hide them directly for the render. You can also switch their order at any point to have the layer you want above the others. And of course, at any point, if you don't like the image you've chosen, you can change it whenever you like. Let's say the first one, the Spraycast graffiti, I want to change it. I can just go into any category. Let's say, for example, grunge, and I've got several grunge texture already built in. I can choose the one I want. Let's say the first one is great, and I can now scale it, move it, rotate it as much as I want, and of course, I can also put it above the other layer. So this is the first thing about layer management and asset management within Spraycast. But next comes the customization. I'm going to hide the grunge texture to showcase it better. Basically, I've got this very nice graffiti I put into the scene, and I want to customize it. I have several options built into the add-on tab. The first settings are fade and distance. Distance is basically how far the spray will go. By default, it is on 10 meters, but I can go much lower to the point where the spray completely disappears because the empty is farther than 6 meters. But if you go a bit slower, you can actually use the displacement from the surface to customize your spray. Fade is a pretty neat option. Basically, the empty is going to project the image right in front of it. That means that you can actually project the spray onto any surface, even if it's not flat. Let me show you. I'm going to put the spray right in front of this sphere, and right now it is cut because the plane is too close to the wall. but if I make the plane go back a little, you can see that now the image is now following perfectly the sphere. And it works with any surface you want. I'm actually going to continue from there to showcase the next settings. And this is where fade comes in. Basically, what fade means is how much the image is going to disappear based on the angle of the surface. Let me show you. If I have fade at 0, the image will never disappear whatever the angle. But if I increase fade, you can see the image disappearing at steep angles. It's a very niche but useful feature. Then, the next customization option is where? Basically, it is to make disappear the image. If I increase it, you can see the whole image is going to disappear following a noise pattern. You can also change the scale of the noise and the details of it. Then we have the basic material settings. We have roughness, of course, the lower it's going to be and the more reflective the material is going to be, and metallic, which is going to increase metalness, which make the object more metallic. You can toggle tile, which is going to create a tile from your image texture, and you can also toggle noise roughness, which will allow you to customize your roughness with even greater details. Then we are getting to the juice. The very reason this add-on exists. One of the big advantages of using raycast technology instead of using the classic shrink wrap modifier onto a plane is that we can gather information from the target. It's going to automatically look at the surface you want to take some information, like for example, the normal. Here you got a toggle allowing you to copy target's normal. It is toggled by default on graffitis, but as you can see, if I untoggle it, the shadows disappear from the sphere. It allows you to apply the target's normal onto your image. And of course, you can customize it by increasing the intensity or invert the normals. Then we got the cast shadows, because of course, if we can gather the normals, we can actually gather the shadow information from the surface. So let's use it. And as you can see, immediately it's going to apply shadows where they should be. And you can play with the strengths and also add blur for a seamless result. You can also change the bias to increase or decrease the size of the shadow. Then we get some color correction tools. We got something to change the hues to your wish. You can also change the saturation and change the value for something darker or lighter. You can also remove any color and only use the alpha to put the color you want with the fill color tool. And last but not least, you can also add an emissive shader with the emission toggle. But of course, the biggest advantage to Spraycast is its flexibility. Let's say, for example, I want to add another Spraycast system onto this cube. At any point, I can just shift right click onto the cube and say add a new Spraycast system, and it's going to add a picture immediately. Now, from now on, I'm free to do whatever I want. I can add as many systems as I want. I can add as many sprays as I want. And as all the sprays are just a mix of empties and a single plane, it costs absolutely nothing on the performance. And it's completely non-destructive. At any point, you can just go back, remove something, change something, add something. You are free to do whatever you want with Spraycast. And of course, you are not limited by the built-in assets, as I've said before. You can add as many assets as you want. The asset manager is very powerful and very flexible. At any point, you can just import the image you want and create new categories. For example, I'm going to show you these magic categories that I've made, and into it I imported this magic circle, meaning that at any point I can just add this magic circle into my scene however I want. And I can add a nice emission shader so that it glows like a magic portal would do. And of course, I can move it and put it onto an angle which normally will be almost impossible to do with a shrink wrap modifier. As you can see, it looks perfect and at no cost on the performances. No geometry needed. And here it is. Thank you very much for listening to me. I hope I've been helpful to you. Sorry once again for the thick accent, and see you soon with the next plugin.